r/Askreddit by Reddit and chill. Employees of escape rooms. What is the most incorrect thing someone has attempted to do to escape? Part of the game was bar themed. Multiple people moved the entire bar. We had to put up a do not move furniture sign to go with our do not touch electrical outlet and do not break things signs. The better solution is to bolt down furniture and also seal the gaps between the furniture and the walls. Though then it becomes psychiatric ward themed. In one that I did, my group got paired up with some random people. One of those people was an off-duty cop. One of the puzzles involved a pair of handcuffs and you had to find the key. Unknown to the rest of the group, he just pulled out his handcuff keys and opened them up, skipping like half of the room. We started this way too. Being handcuffed to the wall, my friend ripped hers straight out of the wall and the guy came in and was like, "You can't do that." I'm not an employee, but for my birthday a few years back myself, my fiance, my sister and my best friend did 10 escape rooms in one weekend. While most went smoothly, there were a few oddball incidents. My favorite of the bunch being, we were in a kidnap scenario room where we were all handcuffed standing to a bench in the middle of the room and had to search for a key to unlock ourselves in the dark. After 3 minutes of groping helplessly and blindly around the room, my friend, who is extremely tall, kicked behind him and flicked the light switch on. Still couldn't find the key. At this point the timer is showing we've wasted about 5 minutes. And knowing every second counts, we all start looking at the bench itself. It looks cheap, kind of lightweight, and we're all pretty strong people. So we coordinated lifting the bench around the room between the 4 of us and managed to solve the first 4 puzzles in handcuffs, just by adjusting the bench and passing items across it to one another. We felt stupid when we finally found the, obviously placed, key. But damn, we felt like badasses for not letting it stand in our way. The employee said he was extremely impressed and didn't want to intervene because he was surprised at our ingenuity. That was a fun weekend. Watched someone pull out one of those folding lockpicks and go to work on a door. Talk about missing the point. Who pays $30 a person just to skip to the end? Solved the escape room and the other hidden puzzle that played in this room. It started automatically if you solved the main one in under a certain amount of time. We actually had to escape by opening a window, climbing out and walking back inside the building, which was kind of cool. The catch: there had been builders doing renovations on the building, and they had painted the window shut. So the guy walks in after watching us fail to open it for 10 minutes saying stuff like, "Oh, you can solve the hard version of the room but can't open a window." He then tries to open it, and thinking about him strain for a solid 2 minutes to open this window after taking the piss still makes me laugh. Which escape room was this? Pretty much the exact thing happened to us. My cousin short-circuited some exposed wires he saw hanging underneath a table with a key and it caused some secret drawer to open. The room attendant was not happy, but in his defense those wires should have been connected and hidden. It seems like there's a common theme of escape room employees not prepping the room and then getting pissed off when people find shortcuts or bypass the puzzles. I've been working at an escape room for almost 3 years now. We have a Western Gold Rush themed room, and there is a broomstick in the room which is used in one of the puzzles. On the broom it says can which hints that it's used in connection with some pictures of can dances on the wall. There was once this group of about 5 women. Each of them maybe 25-32 years old. They seemed a bit stuck. So I sent them a hint to read the broomstick and see if it related to anything in the room. In which they somehow thought it meant that they all had to link arms together and do the can dance in the middle of the room for about 2 minutes straight, in hoping it would do something or some door would unlock. At which point the only reason they stopped was because I sent them another hint saying that their dancing was not going to do anything. Fun times Lumfeo. I've worked with escape rooms for a year and a half. We in a room that has a ritual cult theme. The first puzzle is figuring out how to turn the lights on by placing your hands on some markings. I had a group who got really into the whole ritualistic theme. So instead of just placing their hands on the markings, they joined hands in a circle and came up with this chant in the vein of "We, the humble players, Join hands to symbolize our willingness to perform the age-old ritual of this room. Please grant us the gift of light, which all 6 people chanted together. So I pressed the light button from the control room. Because it was so impressive and creative. 9-10 years ago, when escape rooms were starting to pop up, my mom's friend literally stuck a key-like object in an outlet thinking it was a clue and almost electrocuted herself. I shouldn't laugh, but for some reason this got to me. 2. I'm an escape room employee. One of our rooms is saloon themed and has a bunch of plastic alcohol bottles in it that are filled with varying levels of colored water. The bottles are glued shut and every group is explicitly told that the bottles have really old, like over a year old, water in them and they do not need to be opened. A guy pried one open and drank the water. Yes. He threw up. Luckily he made it to the washroom first. Like. Did he think drinking that water would solve the puzzle, Mayo? All these other ones at least have people doing things to leave the room. This guy is next level dumb. At my old place, when someone asked can I pick the locks, we'd say sure, cause we didn't think anyone would miss the point of escape rooms so much they'd bypass all the fun stuff deliberately. His wife and daughter were not nearly as amused with his abilities as he was. This is the lockpicking lawyer and we're out. Went into one with a teenage boy. It was a zombie room, where if you're touched by the zombie you can't work on the puzzles anymore. It's on a chain that gets longer as time passes. Before we went and the host informed us that we'd have 15 minutes until the zombie emerged from its hiding spot so we could get in some stress-free puzzling. They told us everything in the room was fair game. Except for a giant box with giant X's marked on it. If we open that box, we'd lose our 15 zombie-free minutes. Despite the warning, Aaron still went right up to the box as soon as we entered and opened it. He legitimately wasn't trolling. I came here for zombies and I ain't gonna wait for them. My group was in one where we had to find a handle and use the handle as a lever to pump fluid out of a reservoir in order to complete a puzzle. The handle just happened to be roughly the same diameter as the sink drain. That did not have a filter trap in it. My teammate gets it in his head that we need to use this item that is clearly a handle to something to plug the freaking sink. We spent a full 10 minutes fishing it out. The employee watching us said he'd never seen anyone do that before. Not an employee, but this one guy pulled the fire alarm after specifically being told that the fire alarm was not a clue. He said he thought he saw code behind the lever. Everyone's night was cut short. Technically that guy got you all out of the room though. Not an employee, but we started by being handcuffed to each other. We found the key fairly quickly and tried to unlock ourselves. However, the cheap-ass key broke almost right away and it took about 10 minutes of us waving and pointing at the camera for them to come help us. It was very frustrating. Like in the good old horror movies, where the victim tries to signal the surveillance camera, but the guard is happily dozing in his chair, both feet on his desk and the hat pulled low. We have a do not touch sticker for things that are just props, not clues. One group pulled every damn one off and lined them up looking for a clue. Jesus. The stickers themselves? Employee for about a year here. Had a guy literally pull out a knife and cut through the ducking wall. I'm talking combat knife from his boot cut through the wall. Yes. He had to pay for damaging the room. People get crazy when put under a lot of stress and they know other people have completed the thing that they're working so hard to complete. Part of the crazy makes sense. Room escape? There's no escaping me. Room. Prepare to die. A woman pulled out a power drill from her purse and exclaimed she'd have them out of there in no time. We actually had to go in and explain that yes, the goal is to escape, but it's more fun to actually do the puzzles and try to solve the room. Also, who carries a power drill in their purse? I have a co-worker with a magic backpack. It's not terribly large, but everything you need is inside. So far the things I've said I wish I had at work that he has produced within seconds. Tight stain stick lint roller super glue sewing kit charging cable. Micro USB charging cable. Mini B power brick full Dremel set with 100 attachments wooden shims heat shrink tubing winning lottery ticket. $12. Pre-scratched. But still. I thought it was gonna be a gotcha. And he produced We work boring office jobs. I'm convinced his backpack is magic. Was an employee in Paris. Picking lock was a classic thing. Also using props that are not meant to be used. But honestly, what always infuriated me the most was when kids went there with their parents. Kids are pretty ducking smart and ironically are pretty good at respecting the rules as long as it's in the roleplay of the room. But what always makes me angry is seeing those kids being really smart and creative, finding all the right clues. For their parents to diss them and never taking any clues the kid gave seriously. In the debrief at the end I always comment parents on actually listening to their kids and not steal the fun from them. Can confirm. My worst team was a guy that belittled his smart kids all of the time. Made a point to commend each of them. Also, is it just me or are kids unusually good at puzzles involving hidden shapes and hidden patterns? Had a woman lug one of our smaller tabletop safes through 2 rooms because they didn't open it yet instead of leaving it there and going back to it when they figure it out. Weighted companion safe. I've done one escape room. And our group was told in person and in writing multiple times not to pull anything off the walls. We failed the room because we didn't find the clue hidden in a compartment behind a wall clock that you had to take down to get to. Still angry about it. We spent 15 minutes looking for a battery to put in the flashlight we found before an employee came in and gave us one saying sorry. It was supposed to have one in it already. We were on the puzzle to the last lock on the exit door when time ran out. Also still angry about it. Was in a Cold War race against nuclear annihilation type setting. Spent 10 minutes trying to find keys for this file cabinet that held all the clues. Each drawer had its own key and we were missing one. I used my fingers to unscrew the latch on the side and opened the drawer. We beat it with 5 minutes and the guy apologized because they hadn't replaced the key before we came yet reprimanded me for altering property. So he hadn't done his job properly and had a go at you for still escaping. What a dong. Friend of mine works at an escape room. He told me one about a room where the solution at the end is to figure out a 4-digit code to unlock a padlock that has a key on the hasp. Said padlock is also locked to a desk. One group picked up the beefy 100+ pound desk and carried it across to the room and then inserted the key into the lock and rotated the whole desk to unlock. Not the correct solution. But it did work without breaking anything. That time at least. This one is kind of cool. That isn't like cheating by picking a lock or brute forcing a door. That is genuine lateral thinking. Using the tools provided to solve a problem. Bravo to that group. Not an employee but. One time my group thought we all had to hold hands. The recording said to hold all the handlebars. So I always like to imagine the guy watching us was laughing at us. I always wonder how stupid I must look to the attendees that oversee the room. I was just at a horror themed escape room for Halloween that had a live actor inside to give hints. The look on the poor girl's face as they watched me and my buddy try and screw a flashlight into a lamp was hilarious. She just stared at us for several minutes like you gotta be kidding me before she took mercy and was like that's not how lamps work. I did an escape room a couple months ago with my boyfriend and his family. We completed the puzzle pretty good except for the fact at the start we were handcuffed. I was put in charge of unlocking everyone once we solved the puzzle for the key. Here's the kicker. I unlocked mine and my boyfriend's pretty good. Got around to his stepdad. Broke the key. They had to solve the rest of the puzzle handcuffed. And to this day still bring it up. Did one like this with my GFS family. We were in the handcuffs for like 10 minutes until someone else suggested that the guy with the key he found first might be for the handcuffs we were still trapped in. One of our rooms had a secret door that was magnetically sealed. A player found it by pushing on the wall and finding the spot that had a little give to it. He started to rear back like he was going to try and brute force his way through the secret door. So his game master tried to stop him by saying, "Remember, we encourage you to be aggressive. But please don't be destructive." The player nodded thoughtfully before hulking his way through the door, ripping the entire magnetic seal out of the wall. I had another player in the same room kick another door open, not a secret door. Just a regular one. Plain as the eye can see. It was one of the first few things to unlock. So the player definitely had our "don't be destructive" warning fresh in his mind. The door was dead bolted. So the bolt absolutely obliterated the other side of the door frame. One that I still can't wrap my head around. One of our rooms has a slot machine. Someone managed to destroy the locking mechanism for the entire front of the machine. There's literally nothing useful or relevant to the game in there. Not a single person on my team can figure out how they managed that. Ducking like and subscribe.